Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Choda with an important late night episode of Ignition Time. To be honest, I couldn't go to sleep until I gave you folks this news because this is not very good news. There was a 3-hour meeting between the White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, the US Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. And here's what happened after the 3-hour meeting. The White House and the Democrats failed to reach an agreement on the pandemic relief package, including unemployment benefit extensions, and the next steps are uncertain at this point in time. The parties met for more than 3 hours, but they say they remain far apart on key issues. In fact, here's what Mnuchin said. Mnuchin said, "We are close to a compromise on a number of topics, but far apart on a number of big items. A decision on how to proceed coming tomorrow." The language was a decision on how to proceed coming tomorrow. That doesn't sound very good. That sounds a little ominous to me. And he said on things like state and local, we are still very far apart on that. So in summary, it looks like the negotiations are still stalled, and blows my mind. I'm with you on that. Negotiations are still stalled. They're trillions of dollars apart. Remember, the HEALS Act started at $1 trillion. That was a price tag. And the HEROES Act had a price tag of over $3 trillion. So they're still very far apart after several days of negotiations. And Pelosi said we had what I would call a consequential meeting. It was one where we could see the difference in values that we bring to the table. I mean, all right, there's a difference in values, that's good, but where's the solution? Where's the help? Where's the aid to the American people? It looks like there's no consensus on that yet. And Schumer specifically said we are very disappointed in the meeting. Now, I'm going to give you an important parameter that's actually going to come out tomorrow morning. That is actually what I believe that parameter is going to dictate the future of the talks. And so let me jump to what I'm talking about here. So that parameter is the jobs report for the month of July. So the Labor Department on Friday morning will report how many jobs the economy created in the month of July as we're trying to climb back from this recession. So forecasters expect fewer new jobs than in May, because remember, in May we added 2.7 million jobs, and June we added 4.8 million jobs. So it's not very optimistic. The July jobs numbers are not reported to be very optimistic. That was because of the resurgence of this pandemic in different states across the country, including states like Florida and including states like Texas. So that has definitely had an impact, will have an impact, I should say, on consumer spending and business activity. So basically what's going to happen is, here's what I believe. If the job numbers on Friday morning show a drastic slowdown, show a drastic reduction in job creation, I think the pressure will rise on the president and the administration and Congress and all congressional leaders, all congressional Democrats, to cut a deal to prevent any additional problems and to try and provide aid to struggling businesses, to laid off workers, to state and local governments. So I believe that, again, if the numbers are bad, then there's going to be more pressure on them, and they're going to have to make a deal whether they like it or not, because new claims for unemployment benefit extension, new claims for unemployment benefits have actually exceeded 1 million claims a week for 20 straight weeks, according to the Labor Department. Now, on the other hand, if the jobs report for the month of July, which again comes out on Friday morning, in less than 12 hours at the time I'm recording this, if that shows better than expected job numbers, then we have a situation where President Trump, by the way, who has repeatedly said that the economy will rapidly come back to the pre-pandemic stage, he said we'll have a V-shaped recovery. If the jobs numbers are better than expected, then that actually would make President Trump, would actually essentially give him more of a negotiating position, if you will, against agreeing to all the demands that the Democrats have, including the extension of the $600 a week federal booster. This is something that I think this is going to be an important factor in the final stages of this negotiation. Now, keep in mind that the president has threatened to walk away, has threatened to abandon talks if there is no consensus by the end of the day on Friday. Which is in 24 hours at the time I'm recording this video. And he did tell reporters he was considering issuing executive orders to stop evictions, to suspend payroll tax collection, and to provide extra enhanced unemployment benefits, including student loan relief, perhaps as soon as Friday or Saturday. Now, again, I've mentioned this earlier, it's not clear whether the president has a legal authority to do that. In fact, one of the GOP aides, the Republican Party aides, by the way, GOP stands for Grand Old Party, which is an acronym that was given to the Republican Party over 100 years ago. So that's why they call the GOP party. So this one of the Senate GOP aides, when he was asked about the unilateral payroll tax action by the administration, and this was on Jeff Stein's Twitter feed. He said maybe they can delay collection, but that just means businesses will stockpile cash to pay the payroll taxes down the road. So in other words, this is a delay, this is not a waiver. And so he said, so what's the point? It's all so silly. So that was interesting right there. But according to Evan Hollander, a spokesman for the Democrats on the House Appropriations Committee, he said, and I quote, "Congress has the power of the purse and President Trump has no authority to deviate from spending decisions the House and Senate made in previous pandemic relief packages." So that's basically what's happening here. And we have a situation where one of the judges in Washington D.C., his name is Judge Rudolph Contreras, said the House unquestionably has the authority under the Constitution to determine the rules of its proceedings. And he affirmed that the legislative work undertaken by Nancy Pelosi and other top Democrats was immune from suit under the speech or debate laws of the Constitution. What that basically means in layman's terms is that the House will essentially set the House's cooperation is necessary, and without that the president unilaterally cannot just extend unemployment benefits. And there has been talk that what President Trump is doing is more of a negotiating tactic. But boy, I wish we weren't here to begin with. And in other news, the White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows said we're still a considerable amount apart. And this was after the long 3-hour meeting today, Thursday, that he said that. And he said that they were unable to resolve key issues. Now, like I said, Pelosi did say it was a consequential meeting in which the differences between the two parties were on display. She said they didn't take the illness seriously in the beginning. They're not taking the consequences of the illness seriously at this time. And that's why it's hard to come to terms. That's what Nancy Pelosi said. And Schumer countered that Schumer said that they were very disappointed in how the meeting went and that any White House executive orders could be challenged in court. Now that doesn't sound very good. This is not the time for a face-off about who does what. This is a time for getting stuff done. And Mnuchin, after the meeting, said that they would decide Friday. That if they decide Friday, which is 24 hours, so within 24 hours after I record this video, that further negotiations were not going anywhere, Trump would move ahead unilaterally with executive orders to address things like unemployment aid. So this much is clear. Things are going to come to a head within the next 24 hours. My goal is to give you the news as it comes out, and I hope I have good to report, but I'm going to report the truth, whatever it is. And Pelosi said that, this is what Pelosi said, Meadows pounded the table at one point, reminding her of the meeting where Trump did that in October 2019, the last time that she and Trump met in person. Meadows denied doing any such thing. So this is a political standoff that essentially impacts 30 million individuals, and unfortunately this political standoff is just going on and on. And Mnuchin said the American public want action. So again, we're not going to just keep on coming back every day if we can't get to a deal. We've said by the end of the week we want to reach an agreement on the major issues. The president wants us to get a deal, or he wants to move on and he'll take other action. So it doesn't sound like they came to a consensus, and this is what House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said: we are very far apart. It's most unfortunate. So that's where we stand right now. And the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, what did he say about all this? He said he would be keeping the Senate in session unless and until the Democrats demonstrate they will never let an agreement materialize. However, multiple Republican senators have said they were heading to their home states and would return if a deal came together. So that's where things stand right now, everybody. And Pelosi said, perhaps you, and I mentioned this earlier in my coverage earlier today, when Pelosi was asked about where things stood with the Republicans, she said perhaps you mistook them for somebody who gives a damn. Her exact words. She said that's the problem. See, the thing is they don't believe in governance. It's just there seems to be a lot of finger pointing going on right now. There seems to be a lot of posturing. And again, 30 million of my fellow Americans are stuck in between. And McConnell said, instead of getting serious, the Democratic leaders have chosen instead to misrepresent and even lie about what's at stake. So this is what's going on. And, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell does have several GOP senators who, he said there are 20 GOP senators reluctant to spend any more money at all after Congress already approved 4 bipartisan bills earlier in the year. So Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is not actively taking part in the talks, but he is being appraised of everything that's going on from White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows and from the US Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin. And he did say that he'll support any deal the administration officials and the Democrats are able to reach. So he did say that, and he left the Capitol before Thursday night's meeting broke up. So that's where we stand, everybody. And what's interesting in this entire situation is that the economy, I'll link you to an article in the Wall Street Journal below. The lapse in the extra unemployment benefits will hurt the US economy. That's what economists have said, because the extra $600 a week was keeping hundreds of thousands, millions of families afloat and cushion the economic recovery from the pandemic. But it seems that lapse will affect the US economy. Now, there is going to be a lapse one way or another, even if an agreement is reached. And by the way, at this point in time, unfortunately, it doesn't appear very likely. Even if an agreement is reached, you're not going to see any money for what could be anywhere between 2 and 4 weeks, because the benefits have essentially lapsed. That's where we stand right now. I'm making a late night video for you because honestly, I don't feel very good about this, and I don't think I'll be able to sleep well tonight because this bothers me, and I care for all my fellow Americans. I've said this before. For me, it's not about the red or the blue. For me, it's about the red, white, and blue. I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. I'm American. And I think that people who need help the most should get it. In fact, what I've been doing before I recorded this video was I've been drinking this Pinot Noir. I've gone through the whole bottle. It's one of my favorite French Pinot Noirs. You guys should try this. I don't know if you can see it with the light here, but I've finished almost the entire bottle because this is not something that makes me very happy. I want all of us to get through this. I want all of us to be happy and healthy. Money is a part of this, but at the end of the day, the stress, the aggravation, the frustration, the disdain, the partisanship, the blame is just not healthy for all of us. And so it seems like there's going to be no imminent deal. That's what it seems like. Stranger things have happened. I'll let you know as soon as more news comes in tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. If you learned something new, please click the like button. And I know I'm not giving you good news here, but I'm just giving you the truth, and I'm giving you honest news. If you did learn something new and you want to appreciate my effort, I know the news isn't something that you would appreciate, but if you appreciate my effort in doing this for you late at night, while my family is upstairs sleeping, I would really appreciate you clicking the like button. Click the subscribe button if you want breaking news alerts like this. If you want an important objective analysis of news going forward, and please enable notifications so you get an instant update from me going forward. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to report more news to you as it comes up. There's definitely going to be more information coming out in the next 24 hours, but try not to get discouraged by a lot of hype out there. There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of false hope that's out there. Try not to, in my opinion, it's okay if in some of my analysis and some of my opinions I'm wrong. I'm okay. I don't mind being wrong, but I don't want to give anybody false hope, because I believe that at this moment in time we need reality. We need the truth, so we can prepare and so we can make decisions accordingly, whether it's decisions about our day-to-day future, whether it's decisions about buying groceries on sale, decisions about paying rent, or decisions about voting in November. I know what it's like. I've been there, and I know exactly what everyone's going through, and I feel for you, which is why I'm making this video at this point in time. I hope I was able to educate you. Again, please click like, please click subscribe, please enable notifications so you get instant updates going forward. I appreciate you, my fellow Americans, and we will get through this. And once this is all over, once the dust settles on all of this, I want you to stay with me, and I want you to learn about finance and money and investing and starting a new business and improving your credit and learning how to make your money grow so that we're never ever dependent on the government for stimulus checks, never ever dependent on the government for handouts. We must always think 2 moves ahead. We must always play what I call 3-dimensional chess, not think in 2 dimensions. Don't just think about your next move and play checkers. I will teach you how to play 3-dimensional chess once all this stress is behind us. There, I did a little bit of a rhyme right there, chess and stress. Whenever I get stressed, I read, I have a glass of wine, and I sometimes write lyrics. I'm actually going to write a song, and it will be presented to you, a way for us to hopefully heal and get through this. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.